Hi, my name is Chris Toronto, and I am here to discuss um, my findings for this midterm exam. And the company that I chose to do this on was the Target Corporation. And so I'm going to start off by walking a little bit through the financial statements that I downloaded and formatted into Excel. And one thing that I want to point out from the get-go, if you're looking at the balance sheet, um, line number 10 for credit card receivables held for sale, going back to 2009, it had numbers coming in, but in 2013, there was no number there. And so looking through the 10K, you'll find that Target had a credit card that they issued out to their customers, and they decided to discontinue that and go through a third party. And so they sold that credit card to TD, which now handles all their credit card transactions. So from 2013 on, we wouldn't recognize any revenue coming from credit card receivables on the balance sheet. And likewise, that will affect liabilities and equity down towards the non-recourse debt collateralized by credit card receivables, where you will see that there's no projections for those going forward as well. Moving on through, and I want to highlight now a little bit of the earnings analysis. So Target has opened up stores in Canada, but they haven't been doing so well, and so there's factors such as the U.S. dollar exchange rate, which is hurting them as well. But mostly it's their operations in store. They are having problems keeping their shelves stocked. Their computer ordering system hasn't been working properly in ordering the correct amount of inventory for their shelves. They're advertising items in their stores that aren't on their shelves, and so there's a lot of confusion, and they're trying to work through some problems that they're having up there in Canada. And so we hope that, after being there for a little over a year now, that they'll start figuring that out, and they'll start generating a better system for inventory on their shelves, and for the short time they're just ordering more through that computer system than previously. A new incentive that they have that could impact their earnings coming through this holiday season is that they are offering free shipping on all orders online. And they usually have a policy that they will send free shipping on orders above $50. But to try and capture more market share, they're trying a different technique, and they're going to offer the free shipping to all customers, which it's going to decrease their margins a little bit, but it could ramp up their sales. So it's a strategy that they're trying, and they've been putting a lot more effort into their marketing and trying to recapture a lot of their market that they lost through their data breach. And I'll touch on that data breach in a little bit, but they've got their slogan, they expect more, pay less. And so what Target's trying to do is they're trying to offer a quality product at a low price. And whereas Walmart is kind of the juggernaut in trying to have low prices, and they count on selling a ton of quantity to generate their revenues. Target also has a similar model in that they'll offer a price match to anyone, a price match guarantee that you bring in something from another store with your receipt, and they'll match that price. So Target, along with Walmart, both have that. They're trying to target those low-income shoppers, and right now with consumer confidence going up, these low-income shoppers are more confident and are willing to spend more at these places. So by Target using their marketing efforts to market these low-income shoppers, they are looking to boost their earnings in this coming year. Another factor that could be hurting their earnings is the shipping costs are going up. Both UPS and FedEx increased their shipping costs, I think 4.9% from last year. And this is a trend that they actually did the previous year as well. They increased their shipping costs. And we don't look for Target to really increase their prices proportionate to the increase in shipping costs, so that could hurt their margins somewhat. And also, they're trying to compete with Amazon a little bit more in the e-commerce sector, and to do that, they're offering subscription orders, and so it's about 15% of their sales are coming from their online sales are coming from this subscribe and save program, and this is helping them to compete with Amazon, at least in the e-commerce sphere. And so now I'll move on to the ratio analysis. When you look at the ratios dating back 5 years, you won't see too much difference, and that's because Target's a pretty consistent company. They're pretty stable. They're not going to change too much, too crazy. The only things that they'll change is usually when they'll take out long-term debt, like they did in 2011, 2012, and you saw that went to buildings and improvements. So likely that they're expanding, probably up in Canada is where they're expanding to, building new buildings, and they took out long-term debt to cover the costs for that. But getting back to the ratio analysis, the current ratio, when you look at that, it dipped down a little bit, and that is due to the fact that they did take out more long-term debt to cover building improvements, and most ratios are even, except for those the liquidity ratios, such as the current ratio, the quick ratio measures, and their cash ratio, and those are all due. That little spike that you see, the little difference in there, is due to that long-term debt that they took out. If you compare them to their competitors, you bring up a company like Costco, and Costco's big, but I felt like they were somewhat comparable in that they're both mass merchants. They're both in that industry. They're selling a lot of goods, and they've got a lot of big stores that they're selling from. And so a couple of highlights that I brought out were days of inventory outstanding, and on average, Target has a higher days of inventory outstanding than Costco or Walmart. And some factors that I was thinking dealt with that was the fact that Target offers a lot of smaller, more specific goods than Costco. Costco's more of a bulk, so it comes on the shelf, but it's getting off quicker because they're buying in bulk. It's not specific items such as Target. So I think that contributes to them having a little bit higher days of inventory, about double actually of Costco in the days of inventory outstanding. And moving on to the valuation of the company, looking at it, they've got a growth percentage of 20%, which is probably the highest out of all the competitors that I had put in there. You've got Costco, Walmart, Sears is in there. Sears, I don't know how much of a competitor they really are at this point, but Amazon, I think, is a competitor as far as the e-commerce portion of that company goes. And so Target had the highest growth rate with 20%. Costco only had about a 10%. So it seems like, at least in this industry, people aren't looking for too much shift. But for Target, I believe that the higher growth percentage is related to people think that they're going to make a comeback from that data breach. I think that with that comeback, they expect the stock prices to go back up. I forgot to touch on that data breach a little bit. So back in 2013, Target had a data breach where I think they had 40 million credit card, debit card accounts that were stolen from their system from this malware that got placed in their computer system, and it took them a lot of time and they had to spend a lot of money, a lot of expenses that they incurred to make up for that and to come back from that lapsed from that data breach. So that's been kind of the main focus of Target, is to get back on track and get back to where they were, reassure consumers that they can be confident in Target, and that Target can do everything that it will to gain their consumer support back. As far as purchasing it as a stock, if I were to buy Target, I would buy today. And I would buy today because their seasonal shopping will cause an increase in their stock price, but it usually lasts through about mid-December. So you see in their trend from the last 5 years that you'll see a little spike in their stock price from the later part of November through mid-December. So I would buy now, and then within 3 weeks I'd try and sell before it goes back down. But another option is to hold on the company, see how they recover from this data breach. Do they keep on progressing? And if they do, I would look to maybe invest sometime in the summertime. That's usually when their stock price is at the lowest, and then look for it to increase up as it heads into the holiday season. And that may be a good time to sell again and then rebuy back in the summer months. And so, just to hit on a few drivers that drive this industry, there's a brighter economy coming that's going to deal with holiday hiring, and they expect that holiday hiring is going to be back. Actually, it's going to be back to where it was about in 1999, about 8 years before the recession hit. And so we expect this trend to continue, and for there to be about 800,000 seasonal hires this year to boost up their seasonal sales. We know that ground shipping is also a driver. Their low-income shoppers that they're marketing to, with them having an increased consumer confidence, that's a driver for this industry. Gas prices dropping. When the gas prices are low, consumers are looking to go buy and are willing to spend their money in other places. So these are just a few drivers that are driving the industry, and this is my midterm project. Thank you for listening, and that's it.